Hello, I'm Fiona Loud. I'm Policy Director for the charity Kidney Care UK. Donal was our chair and he is much missed. But Donal was much more than that to me. I have my own life with kidney disease and kidney failure. And for the last 20 years, he's been something of both a friend and a colleague. Somebody who's able to give a wise word of advice, who replied almost immediately to any of your emails, sometimes in the way that my teenage son would, with just a K or TX or something like that, but you knew that he was listening and no question was silly, no question was not important. And I think that shines through all of his work. And this really, from the patients that he looked after as well, I'd like you to spend a few minutes just listening to some of those patients and their families, the people that he's cared for over the years. And you'll hear how consistent he has always been, whoever he's talking to, somebody very senior or somebody that he cared for. So that's enough from me, and over to some of those other voices.
I was referred to Professor O'Donoghue in February 2020 by another consultant because he regarded him as the expert, and he looked after me throughout 2020. In fact, I was still his patient when he died. Professor O'Donoghue was open to looking at all types of investigations, everything from the most modern through to some of the more old-fashioned methods. In fact, he sent me for a water deprivation test, and the hospital said they hadn't done one of those for at least 10 years. So he was always open to all the possibilities. He was excellent to have as a doctor because he treated me as a person, not just as a patient, and he was always interested in me and took a great deal of time to understand how I was feeling with my condition. No sort of box ticking that you get with some people.
My name's Les Lomax. I've been a patient of Professor O'Donoghue since 2014. I always felt that he cared about me as an individual and treated me as if I mattered. I've always had confidence in what he said and what he told me. His explanations have always been detailed and delivered with sensitivity, even when dealing with harsh realities. I always felt better when I left the consultation than when I entered. I still find it very, very hard to believe that he's no longer with us and that his knowledge and expertise are lost now. But I've been honoured to take part in this tribute, and I thank you very much for that.
When someone is ill, it's not just the patient who's affected, but also those around them. Over many years, I accompanied Les to appointments with Professor O'Donoghue, and I always felt that Les was in a safe pair of hands with him. I came to appreciate over those years what a lovely, charming and approachable man Professor O'Donoghue was, and I also valued his extensive professional knowledge. He took the trouble to remember details of our lives and our professions, and he made us feel special. He answered my copious questions in detail and showed interest in what we were asking. I'm still also in a state of shock that he's no longer here to guide us. We feel like a rudderless ship. We miss him. The world is certainly a poorer place without him. On behalf of Les and myself, thank you for allowing us to take part in this tribute. We send our condolences to his family. Thank you.
I first met Donal in 1998 when he was the lead on the consolidation of Manchester's renal services from 3 sites to 2. He had a very difficult task of persuading a very sceptical renal patient population that Salford could become a very patient-focused and trusted centre for the renal services for West Manchester. Over 2 years, I got to know a man and a clinician who had a genuine affinity for patients, their needs and concerns. He was extremely affable, always asking first how you were, and very concerned that as patient representatives, we understood the discussion, the issues, and the direction of travel. History is the best judge of sincerity, and his was well proven, as I watched Salford's service unfold in the following years to become a centre of renal excellence and reputed for its patient-centred approach. For me, from that original acquaintance has led to many other chances of meeting Donal over the years, as both he and I journeyed through the patient involvement at regional and national level. Every time I met him, it was the same friendly Donal, always supportive of patient commentary and gave me confidence that mine and other output was important and very necessary. Donal was certainly an old school clinician who realised service change was necessary, but not to the detriment of the patient-clinician relationship. As a patient, his early passing is of great sadness, not just the patients at Salford, but all of us who unwittingly benefited from a man who did so much behind the scenes that has allowed so many more of us to be treated with dignity and success. And for all your hard work, Donal, I thank you.
I first met Professor O'Donoghue in December 2019. I'd been referred to him by my rheumatologist because I developed ANCA vasculitis and it had affected my kidneys. So my rheumatologist wanted some advice from a kidney specialist. Right from the start, it was obvious that Professor O'Donoghue didn't just regard patients as a kidney. He was interested in the whole person. On my first meeting with him, he was interested in my career, hobbies, lifestyle, and so on. Definitely the whole person. He gave me lots of advice and lots of information about ANCA vasculitis, which was very useful to me. Right at the first appointment, he gave me a business card with his email address on it. And I was free to email him whenever I needed advice. And he would always conclude his emails with something like BW Donal. So it was a bit like receiving an email from a friend, which was very helpful from a patient's point of view. Seeing a specialist can be quite daunting, but this very informal and friendly approach put you at your ease straight away. So I was very appreciative of that.
Well, you've heard it in people's own words, the difference that Donal made to the lives of the patients and their families that he cared for. He made a difference to so many other lives as well. And for that, we can only thank him, and we miss him very much. Thank you, Donal, for everything that you did, for all the lives that you helped to change.